Reacher is back, baby, with 3 episodes in the premiere. So, guess what we're doing today? Welcome back to my channel, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Today, I'm going to be talking about the first 3 episodes of Reacher Season 2 on Prime Video. Super excited to talk about these episodes, kind of get into the new season. And if you want to skip around or anything, there are time codes in the description below. I won't be splitting the episodes up in the video necessarily completely. I'll kind of try and stick to each story, but I watched them all in one sitting, so their stories are kind of like melded in my mind. So I may talk a little bit about, different parts of different episodes at different points in the video. I'll start off spoiler-free, just kind of giving my thoughts on how well I think the first 3 episodes went and where I think things could potentially go in the season, again, without spoiling. Then I'll get into some specifics of the episodes and the story. To get things out of the way, yes, I was correct that Season 1 story isn't going to have too much to do with Season 2. And it's just kind of the way that book stories and especially spy series of books work. Like each book is focused on its own story, focused on its own mission or whatever in Reacher's life. So this season takes place almost 3 years. He says it in the first episode. I think somebody correct me if I'm wrong, 2 years, 7 months, and 19 days, I think, since what happened in Season 1 in Margrave.
Been a minute since Margrave.
Been 2 years, 7 months, 19 days.
This season deals more with Reacher's military background and his team and some things that happen in their lives and things that they were working on. So Reacher's kind of coming in on the back foot in this season. Like he's not, none of the immediate action that opens the series is set around him. He finds out later by way of Neely. So he's kind of doing his own thing, traveling on the road, whatever, and gets a message from Neely that she needs to see him, basically. I won't say what for yet. And it has to do with his old team. He goes to New York, I believe, to meet up with Neely, finds out some more information about what's happened, and proceeds to kind of try and his best to put the team back together to figure out what's going on and put an end to it. This is so hard, doing this without spoilers. So hard. I'm giving it my best shot. I'll get better as the more I keep doing spoiler-free reviews. So the first couple of episodes are spent really setting up the story of the season, setting up where these players have been for the time since Reacher has seen them. He doesn't have a phone, so it's hard to keep in contact with him. There's a lot of kind of exposition, not bad exposition. I think it's done in a graceful way. But there's a lot of exposition in the first 2 episodes as they're kind of, coming together as a unit, going through some things. There's flashbacks to some moments from their past when they first met as a team and some of the things that happened to bond them together in the military. The special investigators, you don't mess with the special investigators. Every time we kind of get a new character, we flash back to when Reacher met them, really. And it reminds me of Arrow, but the good seasons, like when the flashbacks were used well, I like them so far. Again, they're exposition heavy, but I love it so far. And then where we leave off at the end of the 3 episodes is we have a big reveal about a connection that one of the characters has to this entity that seems to be behind whatever's going on this season. None of the team knew this prior to this reveal at the end of the episode. So I'm super excited to see what this week's episode has. And I will, again, follow up with another video next week. But yeah, I think that's all I can say without spoiling. So I'll just go ahead and give my rating. For the first 3 episodes. I think it was a pretty strong start. Characters, we get introduced to some new characters, and I think that they all serve their roles in the team. They have kind of these very specific individual characteristics. That is why Reacher chose them for the team in the first place. And those characteristics shine throughout the first 3 episodes. In terms of plot and story and pacing and all that, I'm not 100% sure how many episodes are going to be in the season, so I'll update you with that in the next video. But for it being 3 episodes, I think it kept the story pretty smooth. It didn't necessarily feel like any particular episode was more bogged down than any of the others thus far. This season, I'll be talking about action because I'm a martial artist and stunt fighter. So I get really into like the nitty-gritty of how fights are shot in movies and TV shows. And I will say, I'm sure part of it's Alan Richardson, part of it's a stunt double, but he's very technically sound in the way that he moves. Like all of it is very believable. It's not just like, oh, fists are flying and, you know, kicks are happening and it doesn't make any sense. So for the part of like the actual fight work, I think it's been really great. I am not in love with the way that they have shot it or edited it, really. There's a couple of scenes where a fight happens and it's kind of like it's supposed to be a longer fight, I think, than they really want to show. So they kind of just cut from point like to different points in the fight. So it's not like every cut is a cut on action, matching action, so that, you know, we can see it from a different angle or whatever. Sometimes it like an action will happen, a punch will be landed, and then we'll cut, and the very next shot is like the 2 characters in completely different positions and doing a different action. It's not so much that it's in continuity, it's just more like they're trying to shove the fight into a short amount of time, but they want to give the impression that it was a you know, longer fight than what they are willing to show. I didn't love that because I'm more of a fan of especially when fights are technically sound and when the fighters are good, of like just letting it play. Like pull the camera back so I'm not like tight in their faces and we're cutting and we can't see what's happening, but pull back a little and let us watch what's actually happening. Because stunt fighters work really hard and stunt choreographers work really hard on choreographing moves and fights, not only in a way that is feasible to do on camera so that it looks believable and so you're not seeing fists fly past people's faces, obviously not hitting them, but they also choreograph them in a way that, if done well, gives you insight into the characters and how they fight. How they fight has a lot to do with who they are. So I really enjoy when we're able to experience that fully and appreciate it fully. And I don't feel like all of the fights, there are a couple fights where it's like they just let the action play and what happens. But there's one specific fight, and I think it's either in the end of episode 2. No. Yeah, maybe. It's either in the end of episode 2 or somewhere in episode 3. I can't remember. It kind of took me aback for a second. I was like, wait a minute, what are they doing? Like, what just happened here? And then I realized like what they were trying to do, because it kept happening throughout the fight. It is what it is. It's a creative choice. I don't necessarily like the creative choice, but it is what it is. This is not something that I talked about in my recap video, but the score and the music I think is interesting too, because Reacher season 1, like, he's a blues man, so music kind of played a role, a small role, but it did play a role in character, specifically with his character, and music plays a role in this story as well in a way that I can't talk about yet because it's a spoiler. But not only just like the music that they choose, because this is what I'm talking about is like radio music, or, you know, the music, the diegetic music the characters are listening to in the world, but the score as well is not something that I've talked about yet. But there was a moment in the beginning of episode 1 when Neely and Reacher get together that I was like, ooh, I like that a lot. I don't know why I didn't pay attention before. Like, I didn't think about the score very much in season 1. So I'll check in with that throughout the season and kind of see if the score affects me in a way that it did in the first episode. So overall, I think my rating would be, for these first 3 episodes as a lump, I think I would probably give it an 8 out of 10. because I really enjoyed them, and it made me really excited to see where this season's going to go. And every episode left you wanting more. There was a pull to watch each episode, even though the binge model is already there, kind of set up for you. 8 out of 10. Looking forward to episode 4 and getting more into this reveal at the end of episode 3 that I will talk about now, because we are entering the spoiler section. So if you haven't seen the first 3 episodes of Reacher season 2, now is the time to click off and go watch those episodes and then come back and tell me your thoughts. But before you leave, please leave me a like and comment what you're excited about for this season. Share with your friends, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of the videos that are coming for all of the subsequent episodes. But yeah, that should have given you enough time to click off if you're not here for spoilers. So for those of you who are, in the opening scene, the opening shot of the first episode, someone is dropped from a helicopter and dies brutally. It's very like, you hear the sound of the body hitting the ground. You don't necessarily see it fully, but you feel the impact. And it's one of Reacher's team. His name is Franz. Neely's alerted, we found out later, by Franz's wife that he went missing and then that he was found dead. A couple of college students wandered off a trail in the middle of the woods and found him. So she reaches out to Reacher via an ATM message, which I thought was really clever. I like how there are certain things about the way the Reacher world works that feel very book specific. Like, Reacher has some one-liners that I'm like, these have to be lifted straight from the books. Like, there's no way, or at least whoever wrote the books is writing these lines, because they're like one-liners, but out of context of like who Reacher is as a character. Like, nobody would say that. The types of things that he says, I wish I could remember a specific one right now. But anyway, they're good, they're funny, and they work, but they're just like, that feels like somebody is reading the book and was like, ooh, that's a cute line. We should use that. But the ATM thing felt like, it's not just like, oh, the latest gadget or, whatever, like some movies tend to rely on. They're very creative ways to connect with people, to use weaponry, etc. I thought it was a very cute little bit. And so basically he gets the message and he calls Neely. He uses someone else's phone to call Neely. In putting the team back together, he reunites with O'Donnell and Dixon, who O'Donnell's like, if you've seen Top Gun or Top Gun Maverick, he's like the Iceman / Hangman kind of character, where he's just like, he seems like a jerk. He's blonde. He's, it seems like a douchebag, but he really cares about his team in the end. And Dixon is Reacher's old flame. So he and Roscoe they're not a thing anymore. I don't know when that happened. They just kind of let it drop. So there goes my hopes that Roscoe will show up in season 2. A little bit bummed about that, I'm not gonna lie. But Dixon's cool too. Very sharp woman. She's the numbers lady. Neely's like, I think her expertise is like in explosives or something. And O'Donnell, I don't know if he has a specific expertise. I think he was military police before joining Reacher's squad. Dixon is the accountant. As they're trying to find other members of the team, they realize that 2 more of them are dead. 2 more of them have been killed in the same way that Franz was killed. Sanchez and Orozco have been killed. I'm not surprised by that necessarily, because they kind of set up that, like, if they were still alive, we'd have heard from them by now, type of thing. Once you get to the flashbacks and stuff, like, you get to see some of their characters, and I liked both of their characters, so I was kind of hoping that, they would, at least one of them would still be alive and would be like, injured somewhere, and they've got to save him and whatever. And then there's one team member passed away by something completely separate. He got hit by a truck. I think he was the oldest member, old black man. So the remaining member that they are hoping is still alive is Swan. He is who is revealed at the end of episode 3 is connected with this company, New Age is the company that is after them, basically. There are attempts on their lives throughout all 3 episodes, all 4 of them, like there are attempts on all 4 of their lives. And they find out that this company, New Age, is behind it. And so they break in and they're trying to, you know, get as much information as they can. Reacher happens upon a picture of their whole staff, and Swan is in the picture next to the guy who right now we assume is pulling all the strings. That's where it leaves off, and we're now kind of led to believe that Swan is in on it because previously they thought he might be dead because his dog is dead. His dog died of dehydration. Reacher's like, the only way that he would let a dog die like that is if he couldn't come home. So he's got to be dead. But now maybe he's not dead. Maybe he is on the wrong side. I don't know. I feel like probably not. He probably is dead, or like they've got him hidden away somewhere. But I don't know. We didn't learn as much about Swan as we did the other members of the squad in the flashbacks. So there's a potential that he could turn out to be a bad guy. I already gave my rating, so I'm super excited to see what these next episodes hold. And I will continue updating, doing shorter videos. I'll probably release them earlier in the week so they're closer to the time that the actual episodes drop. That way I won't be dropping videos on last week's episodes right before this week's episodes are about to come out. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for joining me on my Reacher journey, the first TV show that I've reviewed and broken down. Let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions on how I should break these down and review them. If you have any specific things about Reacher you want to talk about, season 1 or what's here in season 2, please be kind in the comments. And if you're gonna talk about spoilers, say you're gonna talk about spoilers before you mention them so that other people watching don't accidentally get spoiled. Leave me a like on this video and share with your friends, all of your espionage, spy, nerdy friends, and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. If you want to watch my season 1 recap of Reacher, click right up here. And if you want to watch another video, maybe one of my recent movie reviews, maybe a short film, maybe a video about me. I don't know what's gonna be there. You can see it. You know what's there. Click right here. And I will see you in the next one.